years ago, on June 8th, 2008, the Game Grid Arcade opened its doors for business. And 10 years later, we're still around, alive and kicking, and in our fourth spot within the Valley Fair Mall. So this video is going to give you a tour of our most recent game collection, our current setup, but also kind of wanted to cover a little bit of our history over the past 10 years. And so for me, in wanting to do an arcade business, it wasn't a spontaneous thing where I just woke up one day and was like, oh, I want to do an arcade. When I was a kid, I always loved playing video games, and games weren't quite as ubiquitous as they are today. You didn't have tablets and computers in every home, so it was a little harder to come across. And our family, we didn't have a lot of money. We never had the cutting-edge game consoles or computers, anything quite like that. I actually didn't even have an arcade near my house, nothing within walking distance, maybe a 7-Eleven with a couple of games there until they got rid of those. But I mean, I was able to visit a few arcades growing up, and in particular the first one that I visited, the 49th Street Galleria, as a part of a birthday party. That left a distinct impression on me and helped mold my desire for what I wanted to do when I grew up. And shortly after that is when I saw Disney's Tron and seeing the character of Kevin Flynn own his own arcades, making video games out of his apartment up in his arcades. That also left a very strong impression on me. But of course, I don't live out of my arcade or anything like that, so yeah, that's close, I guess. I'm a close Kevin Flynn. Now, as mentioned, we started in 2008, almost 2007. I'd been working on a business plan for several years before getting started. I'd also been collecting arcade machines when I could come across them, had a small collection in my garage, all towards the goal of opening up a public business. And after getting a business plan completed, taking it to a bank, getting a small business loan, I still needed more capital to make things work because I did not have a lot of money, and something like this is very expensive to do. All the equipment generally costs hundreds or thousands of dollars each piece. So I was very fortunate in having my parents invest in the business, my brother, my aunt and uncle also invested some, and so all of that helped us get started with our first location, which I'll show some pictures here of that, and we'll go from there. Now the first location, that one, it was on the outside of the mall. It wasn't a very good spot, and we were very lucky to have survived as we got very close to having to close there. It was very dark, but I was trying to get a Tron-like look, and that ended up not being the best decision. That's when we had a PC LAN with 6 machines, and then we upgraded to 8 when it turned out that we created a small, loyal fan base of customers that wanted to come in and play that way. But about a year after getting started there, that's when we were able to finally move inside the mall. We moved down into the hallway that used to be attached to the Mervyn's, but of course Mervyn's had already closed at that point, so that was kind of the dead corridor of the mall. But regardless, we were able to grow a little bit more, add in some new games like Pac-Man Battle Royale, Super Street Fighter 2 Arcade Edition, Terminator Salvation, Darius Burst, another Chronicle. And then about the end of 2011, beginning of 2012 is when Larry H. Miller Theaters came in and took over the Mervyn's building and that hallway, demolished it all, and built up that IMAX theater that's been open since the end of 2012. So at that time, that's when we moved to the spot that a lot of people know us from, the one with the big windows and the white trim. And so we were able to established ourselves pretty well there. We had to grow a lot. When we first moved in there was a lot of empty space, especially along the back wall. But after 5 years, we were able to jam-pack that full of games, and it just got to the point where it was too cramped. And so we decided that we needed to move again. And so the only reason why we moved is because that time we really wanted to. We needed more space. And so that's when we came here in May 2017. And so we've been able to grow ever since. And just this year alone in 2018, we've been able to add a few pieces to the arcade. We recently got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game by Raw Thrills, which is a lot like Turtles in Time, if you remember that one. Earlier in the year we got Raiden 2, but we've been having some monitor issues with that, so still working on that. We got a unique racing combat game called Redline Rampage in a pair of those. You'll see that in the video. We got the Coin Orbiter as well by Impulse Industries, and that's just for some nice scientific fun. Kids especially love that one. And soon we're going to be getting the Addams Family Pinball, and I really had hoped to have that one in hand for this 10th anniversary date, but things didn't quite work out like that. So it will be here, hopefully by the end of the month. I was told it's picking up today, but it still could be another week or 2 or 3, hopefully not that, before it gets here. But we're excited to add that one in, since everybody knows the Addams Family Pinball if you play pinball of any kind. And so yeah, thank you again for your support. If you've been in and bought tokens and played, that's all been helpful, even if it's just been a token. But any other support we're very grateful for, and I'm very grateful to many people for helping me make this come together and to work and to be a success. I definitely have to thank my wife and my kids, Kate, Alex, Claire, and Charlotte. They've been a huge support to me, and I couldn't have done this without them and their patience, especially that of my wife. And so thank you so much for your support. Also thankful to my parents, Will and Cindy, who also invested in this early on, to my sister Lacey, who's also been there to help when we need it, and to my brother Ben especially, who you've probably met him if you've come in before. He's the taller one than I am. He's younger than I am, but taller. But he's been a huge help, and I'm so grateful to his help and working with him over the past 10 years. And so I consider him a partner in this business, not an employee or anything like that. But then also everybody else who's believed in me and in us in making this come together, the many companies who've developed these games and been able to work with me so that we can get these games on hand. And it's just been a real pleasure working with everybody in the amusement arcade business, because it's still definitely alive out there. We wouldn't have survived for 10 years if the arcades business was dead, or adding in brand new games. They wouldn't be developing brand new games if it was just, you know, just us out there. But anyways, here's a look at the Game Grid Arcade as it is in 2018. So again, thank you for your support. Thanks for watching, and let's get to the games. Alright, so starting up front here, this is always an attractive portion. These are the few prize type games that we do have, so none of them operate giving away tickets, just instant prizes. And so we've had plenty of people enjoy these over the years, and yes, it is possible to win. They have some of these winners posted on here. Probably need to update that with some newer pictures and places to get cash or tokens. Darth Vader watching on from behind there. And we have our older change machine that we first started with, and so it's still running strong. So our front desk area, this is something that we designed. So the desk itself was designed by Lost Creek Cabinetry, and I think they did a pretty fantastic job on that one, but just allows our operations to work for taking care of business. And if you've been to our other locations previously, we would have something like a handwritten eraser board behind the desk to keep track of scores. With this location, we decided to upgrade it with a TV where we could show pictures and all the latest scores there. So yeah, that's where you can get your face if you get top score. So as mentioned, this is one of those items that we've added this year, the scientific-based coin orbiter. You can put in pretty much any kind of coin, pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters, tokens, dollar coins, whatever. See how they orbit around the metal well and learn about space and science at the same time. And in the center, we've had this for a little while. The Walking Dead by Play Mechanics and Raw Thrills. Crossbow controllers here. Nice graphics and seating. Our latest game to enjoy a spot in the game grid is this brand new Ninja Turtles game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Raw Thrills. So we have quite a few Raw Thrills games here, but this one, if you played or liked Turtles in Time that Konami did back in the 90s, 91 I believe it was, this game plays a lot like that. It's almost the same thing, just has the newer Ninja Turtles from Nickelodeon part. Not the Rise of the Ninja Turtles, but the show that was between 2012 and 2018. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely come in with a friend to play this one. And you should enjoy that. And then we still have Jurassic Park Arcade, also by Raw Thrills here. This is still one of our most popular games, another mounted gun shooter. People can't get enough of that. And of course, we've got Jurassic World 2 hitting the scene very soon. But still plenty of fun to blast dinosaurs and whatnot. And then finishing up our central spire area here is Re-Rave, the independently made touchscreen music game. So this one hasn't been played as much lately, but it's still a fun game. Just because you might be used to the songs doesn't mean you need to ignore it. So there's still plenty of fun, just like DDR is. Alright, so we'll start from the front desk area here and just go along the outsides. And so at first we've got pinball machines. Unfortunately still trying to get the right part to get Space Riders fixed, but still trying on it, haven't given up on it. We have our Star Trek Premium and Star Wars Premium pinball machines with a Ghostbusters Pro sandwich between the two. On Star Trek we do have a color DMD to give that a little more pizzazz, I guess. But as mentioned, we will be having an Addams Family pinball machine arriving here hopefully soon, sooner rather than later, just waiting for it to ship. So as soon as that arrives, we'll get it set up and going. And then we get our first video games. Here's one we've had since 2008, when we first opened Taito's Chase HQ2. We've only ever had one of these around. You could get two of them to link them up, but the way this game is, where it's a chase, not a race, it just seemed fine to keep it as a single-player game. And here we have Allied Tank Attack, our only motion simulator game. So this seat moves around when you're driving your tank and blowing stuff up, and it has 3 different game modes to play in: survival, story, and a versus battle. Blazing Angels, Squadrons of World War II by Ubisoft and Global VR. This is also one of the original games that we started with, and so this has always been a popular one that people have liked to play, and so we've kept it going. Unfortunately, there was this feature in the seat where it would knock at you when you got shot, but that stopped working years ago and couldn't get it fixed. And before moving on there, I'll cover this side of the second island. So we have Pac-Man Battle Royale. So we're the only location that I know of that has the prototype software, the tournament edition software. But this is definitely great fun for 4 players. The Act, an interactive comedy. This is also one we've had since we first started. There was a time there where it was down and not operable. It originally came with a spinner controller, and that thing we could not get it working for the life of us. So the trackballs worked. It's not quite as good, and so still going to try and get some sort of spinner knob solution back on there, but this is a great game. We have a little bit of the history about it there as well. Only 40 of them in existence. This one was Sky Cursor, but unfortunately it turned out nobody liked to play that one. In fact, it was one of our worst performing games, and so just kind of trying to figure out what to put in here. For now, we've been trying Tetris Plus 2 by Jailco. So if you've never played this version of Tetris, it's a little different. It's pretty cool. I mean, of course, it has the classic Tetris in there, but it has some other modes in it which make it unique. And as far as I'm aware, this was never released to home consoles. Phoenix, this is one of the first games that I had that I brought from my home collection here to the arcade, and it did also have some technical issues with the monitor for a while, but otherwise we've had it up and running for a nice long time. Taito's Space Invaders, the original, the one and only, from 1978. So this is the oldest video game that we have here, and just enjoyed having it around. Also have this Assault by Namco and Atari, but we've had the monitor out on repair for a while now and still waiting for that to come back. And Blitz, we have NFL Blitz 2000 Gold Edition, but recently started having an issue where it would reset itself every time somebody finished the first quarter, so trying to figure that out. Now, for another rarity that you'll only find here, at least in Utah. There are a few of these out in the States, but as far as I'm aware, we're the only location in the States that has this in English, the English translated version. So on the control panel here telling you what to do, everything's in English instead of Japanese, and in-game, same thing. Although there isn't a ton of text you have to worry about, but this is one of the cooler games that we have. It's a bit old school in how it plays, but with the dual screen, ultra wide display, subwoofer in the seat. This is one of my personal favorites, always has been. We've had this since 2011, and it's just an awesome, awesome game. And also by Taito, we have Bubble Bobble 3. I handmade this marquee for it, and so we've had this game for a little while. And if you ever played the original Bubble Bobble from 1986, you definitely should check this one out. It's essentially the same game, but has these boss battles, has unique bubble abilities that weren't present in the first one, cuter graphics and all that stuff, so it's a fun game. And here's one we also had since 2008, Namco Classic Collection Volume 2, featuring Pac-Man, Rally X, and Dig Dug. So this does have the originals on it, but also the arrangement versions. Arrangement version of Rally X that's showing here is okay, but the Pac-Man arrangement and the Dig Dug arrangement are really good. They felt like proper sequels, even though I guess technically Namco never considered them to be proper sequels. And one of our most popular classic games here, Miss Pac-Man. So it doesn't really need much of an introduction. It's still very, very popular. Then we have Galaga Assault. Recently the lighting stopped working on the marquee for some reason. Not really sure why. Everything's connected as it should be. But this one uses a unique, like a wider than normal LCD display. I tried capturing some footage of it directly, and just the resolution was too weird for what the capture hardware liked. But yeah, Galaga Assault, it's essentially the classic Galaga in HD. It does have some other changes to it, such as you can see here, you can buy multiple ships. You can have up to 12 at a time. There's also a bomb power-up in every 5 waves. You fight a boss. But this one's been popular. People have really liked it. If you like Galaga, you should definitely give it a chance. It plays just like Galaga, has a lot of the same sounds. Just those other enhancements really help it stand out for being a modern game, and very flashy. We got Donkey Kong, need to fix the light on that one. And this is another one that, like Miss Pac-Man, doesn't really need much of an explanation, introduction, anything like that. It's the original hardware. It's not emulated through MAME like some superstar gamers like to do. Crystal Castles, this is one that I've had since before I opened the arcade. Got it from a local collector. We've always had it set up here. Fantastic kind of comic book style artwork on this one. It's a lot like Pac-Man if you've never given it a chance, just a little more enhanced. And continuing on with Atari, we've got this multi-game creation by Team Play with Centipede, Millipede, Missile Command. Nice big screen here, a tube screen and the original software. Nice big trackball as well for controlling your characters or targets in the games. So this is always a fun one. Right now, this one, we started with this cabinet back in 2008. It was Mars Matrix. You can still see that on there. Just didn't remove the artwork. But a lot of people just didn't seem to care for Mars Matrix, so we've tried some other shoot-'em-up games in here. Right now we have Armed Police Bat Rider, which, if you've never played this one, it's awesome. Just really good music, good graphics, really fun, interesting scoring, and all that, so definitely give that one a try. Here's one that a lot of people didn't know existed in arcades, and just don't know if my camera can really show it here. Pitfall 2 Lost Caverns. So a lot of people are familiar with the Pitfall 2 Lost Caverns that was on the Atari 2600. And this was released a couple years later and completely worked over by Sega, and just has unique graphics, unique gameplay, combines a lot of elements from Pitfall 1, Pitfall 2 that were on the Ataris and some other game consoles, and just made for a unique game. Also has a giant joystick. And another one that I've had since before I opened the arcade, Zaxxon by Sega. And so this one's tough as nails. It is known for being a bit ruthless. Do need to get the picture on there, the guy that has the top score. We have somebody who's been able to get over, I think, around 150,000 points on this one. And so, love the joystick on this. Wish they would make sticks like this again. But yeah, still a game that's as tough as nails. Here's a good one. If you kind of like Donkey Kong, but you like platformers, you should check out Toki. Kind of like, I guess maybe a little bit like Donkey Kong Country, kind of. That might be a stretch, but still, it's you play as an ape and you platform trying to save a princess, and you can spit fireballs, get power-ups. It's fun. And then we have Metal Slug 6, which I would like to put this into a different, better cabinet than this one here, but the cabinet that I would intend it to go into has had some power issues, and so I haven't been able to get that working correctly. But still, Metal Slug's always a favorite. And then, as mentioned, and you probably saw it from the background earlier, our Utah Jazz-themed NBA hoops. So these do not have a moving hoop, so the challenge is just to make as many shots as you can in the 40 seconds that you have. And it's recently, we had the LEDs added to it. I think it makes them look a lot better. And we also cleaned the backboard, so that's always nice. And we got more Jurassic Park here. This is one that was out of commission a little while ago, but we were able to get it fixed thanks to Speedy's One-Stop Repair Services in Illinois. So it's Jurassic Park 3 by Konami. So not a lot of people know about this one. They know about the Sega ones, but this one was released in 2001 and went under the radar in some areas. But like the good old school pistol shooting games of old, you pull the trigger off screen to reload, and don't shake the gun. I've seen people try that. So here's the Rated 2 I mentioned. Unfortunately, it's been having a lot of monitor issues, so I am working on getting that fixed. Also got to fix our Outrun 2 that's back there. Here's a unique one we've had for a little while, iHockey by Imply. It's a Brazilian company. It's This is essentially a cross between air hockey and pinball. And so not a single player game, but a very fun two-player game. In a way, like air hockey, you can't really play that one by yourself. And then here's one that does need a little bit of work. Got to replace the lights in there, got to fix the one monitor on the right-hand side. But X-Men, this is our other dual-screen game by Konami. Excellent beat-em-up, lots of fun. Next to X-Men, we have Atari's Warlords. This is one I've had since before I opened the arcade. Kind of a personal favorite of mine. This is one of the best, most exciting classic multiplayer games that was ever created. So a lot of people don't give this one a try because it looks kind of weird to them, but it's kind of like Breakout. You use the dials to move your shield and defend your castle, protect your king. Tons of fun. When people give it a chance, they love it. And then we have Foosball World Tour or World Tour Foosball, which also can be 2 or 4 players, and probably the most unique foosball table you've ever seen. It has an automatic ball launcher there in the center, glass cover, and LED lighting, music, and all that stuff. And coming over here, we have Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom by Capcom. So one of the few RPGs to grace the arcade market for 1 to 4 players, and a lot of fun. Some people prefer Tower over Shadow over Mystara, sorry. But Tower of Doom's still plenty of fun, got a lot of detail to it. And then we also have Rampage by Midway. And this one's been in the news a bit recently because it's turned into a movie starring The Rock. And so if you ever wanted to see what the original played like, well, here you go. This is the original version. And lots of fun, especially with 3 players. Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Lady Now. So another RPG for arcades, just another genre that we haven't seen too much of. That's not supposed to be there, but there's been a little weird problem with the board lately, and so it's not saving all of the settings. So we gotta figure that out. But lots of fun. We haven't played it. And then we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we still have this one, even though we have the new Ninja Turtles around. And so I guess we just haven't decided entirely yet what to do about that one. But coming back here for a moment, we have Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So the last official version released arcades. Been having some monitor issues with this one as of late, so still trying to resolve those, get it fixed up. But otherwise, it's still Street Fighter. And we also have Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And if you're into Mortal Kombat, it's hard to go wrong there. And we got our Neo Geo. We've always loved having a Neo Geo around, and so we've got Polestar, and I think it's Blazing Star, or no, World Heroes. Whoops, get my games mixed up. And we also have King of Fighters 2002 in this one. So we've got a few more cartridges, need to swap them out perhaps. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, always another popular fighter to have here. This one had some issues earlier, but we fixed them. And since last year, we've had this one, Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. So the final version of Tekken 5 that was released to arcades. It does have the card readers, but I've never seen anybody come in with the card readers. But one thing is this one was supposed to have support for PlayStation 2 controllers, but I think that was removed in the Dark Resurrection version. And then we have Knights of the Round, a Capcom brawler. It's lots of fun playing as King Arthur, but a lot of people ignore it. And then one of our more popular brawlers is The Simpsons. Doesn't need much of an introduction. So we do have Dance Dance Revolution Extreme. It says 7th mix on there, but when we got it, the software was Extreme. Another one that we've had since we first opened was Carnival by Midway. This one's always been a popular one. People have always liked it. And we haven't had this one since the beginning, but it's been popular since we did get it. Aliens Armageddon. We replaced Terminator Salvation with this one. Same kind of gun, same development crew. Worked on that, so it's always been popular. And then another Raw Thrills one, Big Buck Wild. So we have this unique marquee that was never released with the zombies on there. So this does have several mini games on it, and I mean it has the Big Buck Hunter stuff, the bonus games. It has the Duck Dynasty. It has the Doe of the Dead if you want to shoot redneck zombies and zombie animals. And we have the enabled online, so you can play in the competitions. Here's one we got recently, the Swarm. We got it at the very end of 2017, so it's a mounted gun shooter. Not terribly well known, but different. And one of our highest tech games, Star Wars Battle Pod by Bandai Namco and Lucasfilm. So this one is a full cockpit cabinet with a 180-degree dome screen. Force feedback controls, has wind effects. So quite the Star Wars experience if you've never tried it. And then we got Batman by Specular Interactive and Raw Thrills. This was Specular's second to last game. And here you play as Batman in one of the iconic Batmobiles. It doesn't have every Batmobile ever created, but it has a bunch of the popular ones. And so this one, kind of like Chase HQ2, is just fine as a single player game. Wasn't really necessary to get two of them. And here's the one that I mentioned recently that's just joined us, Redline Rampage. So we converted this from a Need for Speed Underground. And because of some monitor issues with what we got, we had to replace the monitors inside of them. We just used some newer curved screen ones. It looks fantastic. But this one, if you're not familiar with it, it is a vehicular combat game. So you not only race to the finish line to be first, but you also shoot your enemies and blow them up along the way, and you can get weapons to lay mines or smoke screens, but you also get rockets, machine guns, stuff like that. So it's a unique, fun game, and again, I'm not really aware of this being out there in too many venues. It's definitely nowhere else in Utah. And then last but certainly not least, one of our most popular games is Cruis'n Blast by Raw Thrills. So very, very flashy game. Also developed in partnership with Nintendo. So if you remember the good old Cruis'n games, Cruis'n USA, World, all that stuff, it's the fourth in the series, and also done by Raw Thrills, which is Eugene Jarvis's company. So yeah, that is the Game Grid Arcade as of June 2018. So thank you for watching this, and if you're in the area, please visit us, check us out. We're at Suite G114. A lot of people ask, where is that? Well, we're not very far from JCPenney, and so if you find that entrance to JCPenney, you can find us. But that's it for now, so definitely drop by, and we will see you then.